It's done.
All right.
Jeez, okay, made me emotional. Okay, shall we? Hey guys, welcome to TechCity Discuss. And yeah, I'm alone today. My girl's not with me, but that's for good reason. I'm not alone, regardless. I'm joined by someone who makes today's episode of the show a very special one. His name is Kachi Benson. He's a filmmaker, a writer, and a director, and the first African to have his virtual reality film not only enter for the Venice Film Festival, but also the first African to win that category, Best VR Film, for his work, The Daughters of Chibok. Please say welcome to my guest on today's TechCity Discuss, Kachi Benson. It's good to have you. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thanks.
Random facts about him. He has a degree in software engineering.
A diploma.
Diploma in software engineering.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a lot of context to why he's on TechCity Discuss.
I don't know, but it's okay.
Talk to me about virtual reality.
Yeah.
Of course, as we know, it's becoming an exploration, space for lots of things. There's gaming, and now we're talking about it being, used in film.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to go in that direction, and what did you need to know to be in that space?
Well, yeah. So for me, virtual reality provides what I call the third level of engagement. So people ask, so what do you mean by the third level of engagement? So I say like the first level of engagement is audio.
Right.
They tell you a story, you hear it, okay, that's great. Second level is maybe a picture or a film, right? You can see, so you're putting pictures to the words that you've heard.
Yeah.
So I think that VR is sort of like the third level of engagement, which is you're not quite there physically, you can't touch and feel per se, but you're there. So you're virtually there, you know, and it helps, as a storyteller, I was saying that what it does is it helps me to push the envelope of storytelling. I can create these immersive experiences for people. For instance, you had a watch Daughters of Chibok. It was like you're there, you can look around you in 360. And I think that it provides a different experience from if you had seen it on a laptop. Yeah. So like detached viewing.
True.
This is more like immersive. You're there. So yeah, that's that for me is the attraction for VR as a storyteller. In terms of how did I learn it?
Yeah.
Well, so I remember when I had to make my first 360-degree video, there was no one in country that I could find, to who either had the camera or knew how to use it.
That's in Bakassi.
Yes, that was my first film.
Right.
Right. And so I had to fly out to the States to go and buy the camera and then learn how to use it.
How much did it cost?
Well, I can tell you that training alone cost $1,000 per day.
Per day?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were there for?
Well, I could only afford to stay there for 5 days.
That's a lot of money still.
Yeah.
Quick math. Nigerian, let's convert it. Wow.
Yeah, and I went and I came back and I did in Bakassi, and I kind of felt like I didn't know enough. So I now went to the UK and did another 5 days in the UK. But that's the way I like to study. If I'm going to do something, I do it with all my heart, with all my money, or I don't do it at all.
Do you think that your background in software engineering kind of helped in any way when you were getting this training?
Well,
at all?
I mean, in software engineering, there's a lot of logic that goes into, how to write programs.
Right.
There's a lot of logical thinking. And I apply that a lot to filmmaking as well.
Right.
Even to random things in the studio, tell my guys, do you think it through? Just walk me through the steps that you took to get right for this decision. But yeah, I think that there's no knowledge that one acquires that goes to waste. At some point, it will come in useful. And so I don't think I have a conscious idea of how my software engineering knowledge is helping me now, but I know that it is there, playing an unconscious role somehow in helping me to make the right decisions as a filmmaker or using new technology to tell my stories.
So, I mean, as someone who's used, apologies to anyone out there who uses the usual stuff to create film, creating the movie for, the VR experience you wanted to, was it different from how you would normally do a feature film or a short film?
Well, yeah, I mean, so first of all, the first challenge is the camera.
Right.
Now, the camera is a rig that has 6 cameras all around it, so you can see everything.
Right.
So the question is, if you're a director, you cannot be on set.
Aha.
So that's the first sort of like learning curve. You can't be on set because if you're on set, they will see you.
Yeah.
I'm watching Mr. A doing that, I turn behind and see a director is like,
yeah.
You lose that immersive
feeling, yeah.
So you have to learn how to go offset and still be able to direct.
Whoa.
That's I think is the most important learning curve for someone who's coming from a 2D filmmaking field. Also understanding things like framing, understanding scale, understanding positioning of the camera, how close you want the camera to be, and all of that. So those are the things that I said that I learned on my second trip.
To the
because
UK.
I kind of felt like I could have done this better, and so my second tutor really showed me quite a few tricks, on how to tell better stories and use this technology very well.
Now, there's a thing with technology and maybe Africa, right? We are late bloomers of sorts, and you have chosen to go in this direction.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe this is you further enabling the Western markets without necessarily building something here in Africa or Nigeria? Because, I mean, this is Western technology, VR.
Okay, well, I mean, I think it's technology.
Yeah, okay, regardless of where it's been created.
Yes, however, I'm a storyteller. I'm a content creator. So I don't build things. Now, if I was someone who built things, I'll probably think of, okay, how can I build like a cheaper headset, to use to watch the films? How can I make a cheaper camera? But I'm not in that space. I'm in the content creation space, and I'm using this technology to project authentic African stories, to the world. So in terms of the technology, it's early days for everyone, even in the West. It's early days. The difference, though, is that there's a lot of investment.
Right.
In the West. They're investing in it heavily. Whereas some of us are even still trying to figure out what it's all about. So you go and meet, someone, I don't know, an agency or whatever, and say, hey, look, so what you're trying to, they don't even get what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
So that I think would be the biggest challenge that we have to overcome. I always give this example of if you walk into a hospital and you see 5 kids who were just born yesterday or just born today, you don't know who's the child of a rich man.
True.
Or the child of a poor man. They all look the same. But in 3-4 years, you will know, just as a function of nourishment, which one is Somolo and which one is Baki. So it's early days for all of us, in VR, both here and in the West. But 5 or 10 years from now, you will begin to see that, if we do not commit the same amount of resources and investment in it as they are doing, we'll start to play catch up again.
So do you think that this will be a major thing maybe in a few years? Because I understand now that, I mean, I've heard of things like parties where you go where you are listening to just
silent
your music,
disco.
silent discos and the likes. VR is pretty expensive. So how long do you think it would take before this becomes maybe the norm? You could just walk into a VR cinema, for instance. How soon do you see that happening?
Well, I mean, I think that, as humans, we're always hungry, we're always curious, we're always innovating, right? And so even as we're talking right now, there's some guy somewhere in China or in Japan or somewhere trying to figure out how do I make these headsets cheaper? Because that's the only barrier right now. That's the only barrier.
Yeah.
How can we make this thing go mainstream? How can we make the headsets look cooler?
Yeah.
Because right now they look like really big and chunky and it's like kind of weird, you know. But, it's only a matter of time. And if you think back to the times when a computer was the size of this room, but now a smartphone is a computer.
Yes, indeed.
So I think that what we need to do is just have faith as people who are practicing, practitioners in VR or whatever, have faith that, look, it's only a matter of time it's going to happen, all right? And be prepared for it. So how am I getting prepared for it? I'm creating my content now.
Right.
So that by the time the devices are cooler or are much more accessible to everyone, there's already content to go on those devices, all right? So, I mean, there are telecoms companies in Germany and in France and other parts of the world that are already licensing VR content.
Wow.
For real.
Wow.
They
That's
license
inspiring.
they license VR content. So that ability to just think outside the box and just say, let's believe in this and let's invest in it.
A few more information about the technical aspect of, your film
Yeah.
or just, with VR filming generally. You talked about the equipment that you used.
Yes.
It's 360.
Yeah.
How do you deal with audio? And of course, in post-production, how are you able to edit in such a way that it doesn't look like,
Yeah.
there are jump cuts and the likes for the nerds out there?
Okay, so I mean, the thing is that because I come from a filmmaking background, that came in very, very useful for me. So I already have a lot of experience in editing and filmmaking.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a great help.
Right.
I'm not gonna start forming as if I just learned it last year and I'm now a pro. So the years of experience came in handy.
Right.
However, so in terms of filming, like I said, you film after filming, we record audio separately.
Right.
The audio from the camera is pretty, it's not great. It's just a scratch audio. So we record our audio separately.
Okay.
And we also use like a Zoom H4n,
Okay.
a Zoom recorder to record like ambient sounds and all of that, and then sync it later in post.
Right.
Now, 6 cameras have recorded 6 different images, different angles.
Okay.
Right. Now you bring it into your computer and you have to stitch them
Right.
into one equirectangular image.
Okay.
Okay. And after stitching them, then you now bring them into Premiere, where you edit.
Okay.
However, before you do that, you have to remove the tripod because the tripod was in a shot.
Okay.
So you have to send it to Photoshop
To cut that out.
and patch it and bring it back. Use a mask to cover it. When you do all of that, then you now start telling your story.
Wow.
So
How long does it take, or should it take normally, to produce a VR
I
film?
love should it take normally. So ideally, say a 5 to 10 minute film can take anything between 6 to 12 weeks. All right.
10-minute film.
Yes.
Wow.
And in VR, in the world of VR, a 10-minute film is like a feature length. The rule of thumb is that you don't keep people in an immersive state for that long.
Yeah. So it's got to be short.
Yeah,
and straight to
15
the
minutes,
point.
20 minutes. I think the longest linear content that I've seen is about 25 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how you do it.
Wow. Well done. Yeah, you deserve that award, definitely, and more, definitely.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's one part of the interview. Let's have an emotional interview, because I saw the video and it was beyond immersive. It was a tearjerker as well. Walk me through the process of filming that, and what it made you realize as a Nigerian who, of course, is aware of how we have tried to battle insurgency,
Yeah.
kidnappings, and whatnot.